Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of The Pitch with Jared Watson. I'm Jared Watson. I'm the host of this show. In this podcast, we talk about all things MLB. We talk about trades, free agent signings, injuries, upcoming events, just all the news you need to know in the baseball world. Now, you might be wondering why I changed the name of the podcast. Well, I thought for a while Jared Watson MLB podcast was kind of long and kind of there wasn't anything really exciting about it. So my friend decided to say, well, how about you call it the Jared Watson Show or something along that lines. I'm like, no, that sounds kind of dull as well. So ultimately, it will now be called The Pitch with Jared Watson. I have a new logo, as you can see in the video right here. We got everything going to bring you the best news and the most exciting news around Major League Baseball. So this week we had some breaking news about one of the star catchers in the game of baseball. I'm talking about Mr. Salvador Perez. Perez will unfortunately need Tommy John surgery this season. He got a second opinion from another doctor, and it turns out the same diagnosis was given. Now, Salvador Perez, like I said, one of the premier all-star catchers in the game. But I don't think this will hurt the Royals very much. For one, the Kansas City Royals are rebuilding. They're in the middle of a rebuild still. So it's not like they're going to compete. If they were going to compete, then this would be a totally different story. But it's never a good thing when you have one of the best catchers in the game injured and probably going to be out for either most of the year or the whole entire year. So it's a bummer. It is. It's a bummer. It's not good for a baseball fan in general to see Salvador Perez hurt. You never want to see that. But he's going to have Tommy John surgery. It's needed. It's required. He will not be playing most likely the entire season, if any at all. So it's going to be tough for the Royals because he's a fan favorite there. He's been there his whole career. But he's a big presence in any lineup. Like I said, he, in my opinion, is probably the third best catcher in the major leagues. Third or fourth best. To me, Buster Posey and JT Realmuto are the top two. And maybe either Gary Sanchez or Wilson Contreras at 3 and 4. But then Salvi's right there. Salvi's been an all-star for pretty much his entire career. He was with the Royals when they went to the World Series and won. He was a big impact on the pitchers in those games. So this is definitely going to hurt the Kansas City Royals, but not as bad as if Salvi was on a contending team. Now, I don't know if the Royals have any plans to trade Salvi at all, or if they had plans to trade him this season sometime. But now they won't be able to do it this season because of the injury. And Salvi's a fan favorite. The fans just love the guy. I think they were torn apart by Eric Hosmer leaving. They would be even more tore up about it if Salvi was leaving. He's that much of a difference maker and an impact on that team. He's their veteran presence now. He has been there for his whole career. He's been there. He's been a Kansas City Royal his whole career. And I don't know how he feels about the situation, about being in Kansas City during a rebuild. But he just seems like one of the players that would stay in one spot his whole career. He's just a fan favorite. And there's a lot to love about him. He's a super nice guy, really well. He's a really good defensive player. All around, I think if he keeps up the good work, he possibly could be a Hall of Famer. He's that good. So he will have to have Tommy John surgery, likely to miss the 2019 season. It's a real bummer for the Kansas City Royals. You don't want to see that happen to anybody, let alone your veteran presence and your most important position player. So tough break for the Kansas City Royals as Salvador Perez has to have Tommy John surgery, likely going to miss the 2019 season. There's actually a lot of injuries we have to go over in this podcast. The next being the New York Yankees ace, Luis Severino. It was reported earlier this week that Severino was dealing with some throwing shoulder discomfort. And now they're saying that Severino is likely going to miss opening day with the Yankees. If you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, you're jumping up and down on this one. I mean, it doesn't get much better from there. I mean, you got to face James Paxton, you got to face J Happ, and then you probably got to face Masahiro Tanaka. But Severino was likely going to be their opening day starter. And they just extended him to I believe, a 5-year deal. So they believe in him. So they believe in Severino, and I do too. He's going to be one of the best pitchers in the game for years to come. So this is not a good sign for the Yankees. If you're a Yankee fan, you are worried, scared, and a bunch of other things, because he was going to be the opening day starter against Baltimore. And that's why I said Oriole fans are going to be jumping up and down, happy that they don't have to face Severino right away. They're eventually going to face him in the season. It's just bound to happen. But Severino is their ace. Like I said, he's their best starting pitcher. And when your best starting pitcher has shoulder discomfort in spring training, you get worried. That's just how it is. So he's likely going to miss opening day and possibly the first couple weeks. I wouldn't say the first month because I don't really know what's wrong with him. He might have some sort of injection in his shoulder to get it going again, and that takes time too. That takes time to heal up. So he was scratched from his start on Tuesday against the Braves. J Happ pitched instead. He was all ready to go in, pretty much. He was all ready to go in. He was doing his warm-up pitches, but then he felt some tightness in his throwing arm, in his shoulder area. So Aaron Boone scratched him, obviously. You don't want to make matters worse, especially in a spring training game where it really doesn't mean anything. So he will be out for at least the last few weeks of spring training. And I highly doubt that Luis Severino will pitch on opening day. I just can't see it happening. But luckily for the Yankees, they got the big maple. They got James Paxton. That means Paxton will most likely start on opening day. So some not so good news from the Yankees side of things. Some great news if you're an Orioles fan. But Luis Severino is likely to miss opening day with right shoulder discomfort. Again, we have a lot of injuries to talk about. The next being Mr. Miguel Sano, third baseman for the Minnesota Twins. He will miss the first month of the season due to injury. He had to get some sort of surgery done. I think it's to his wrist. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. But he had to have surgery for it. Whatever injury he had. I'm pretty sure it's a wrist injury. That will cause him to miss the first month of the season. He's going to miss April. Sano was a weird case for the Twins last season. He started with them on opening day, and I think he lasted a good month or two on the team. But then they put him down all the way to single A. They put him down to single A to get his bat going and to better up some defensive skills. And they kept him there for a long time, a really long time. And he came back late in the season and did okay. So it was a weird case for Sano, who was basically their starting third baseman before that. So, and now you're going to be missing the first month of the new season due to an injury. That's got to be tough for the Twins. I'm telling you, the Twins I have a sneaky feeling. I have a sneaky feeling that the Twins are going to do something this year. And whether that's win the AL Central or even make a wild card, I think they could do it. Do you see the people they have on their team? Adding Nelson Cruz and Jonathan Scope and getting Marwin Gonzalez, Blake Parker. It's huge. It's huge. They're going to be in contention. Now, like I said, I don't know if they can beat the Indians. Right now, there's a good possibility that they could. They got all the core pieces they needed. They got, like I said, Scope, Cruz, Gonzalez. Even C.J. Cron. I was watching the Twins and Orioles game, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, and C.J. Cron hit 2 bombs. Dude has sneaky power. He'll be playing first base. Then you got Jorge Polanco. You just they re-signed Jorge Polanco, their shortstop, to an extension. And they also signed one of their outfielders, Max Kepler, to an extension as well. So you're building this team. You're getting everything situated. Plus you go out and get the super utility freak, I like to call him, Marwin Gonzalez, who can pretty much play 7 positions on the field, excluding, catcher and pitcher, but he could pretty much play anywhere else if you needed him to. So I think the Twins were big winners this offseason. I feel like they could do something good. You got the young Jose Barrios starting, who we'll get to later on opening day. We'll get to that later. But the Twins are going to be good. But this doesn't help. Miguel Sano being hurt doesn't help, because he was their starting third baseman. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But he's most likely going to miss the first month of the season. Hopefully not more for the Twins, because they'll need his big, powerful bat in the lineup. And here's another injury for you. I don't know if this is a huge deal, but nonetheless. The San Diego Padres, after just getting Manny Machado, they have an outfield injury. They have Travis Jankowski. He fractured his wrist in a spring training game. And he's going to miss 3 months of the season. Now, like I said, I saved this one for last because I didn't think it was much of an impact as the other 3. But now this gives the Padres some opportunities to see young outfielders. Because right now, the situation in the outfield, for me, I think it would be Will Myers. We talked about last week, Will Myers moving to center. If they're really going to go through with that, so they're going to have Will Myers in center. You're going to have Manuel Margot. You're going to have Manny Margot in left, probably. And then you're going to have Hunter Renfroe, I would think, in right. And there's no, again, I say this every week, and I'm sure you get tired of me saying it, and it's not what you're thinking. It's not low risk, high reward deal. That's not what it is. I talk about the National League not having a DH in every video, because I swear that would solve so many issues. You could literally put Hunter Renfroe or Will Myers at DH, and then you could put somebody like Franchi Cordero or Jose Perella in the outfield instead of having them on the bench while Travis Jankowski is injured. So Janikowski is going to be injured for 3 months. That means, like I said, Jose Perilla or Franchi Cordero will most likely get some shots in the outfield, probably on the bench. But Cordero can play pretty much anywhere. Franchi Cordero can play anywhere. He's kind of like that super utility guy as well for them. So, anyway, Travis Janikowski going to miss 3 months with a fractured wrist for the San Diego Padres. Now, before we get into some signings, I told you earlier that I would talk about Jose Barrios being named opening day starter for the Twins. Yes, that is a fact. Their manager, Rocco Baldelli, has announced that Jose Barrios will start on opening day for the Minnesota Twins. He is young. His arm is unbelievable. Unbelievable arm. He's got every tool to be an ace. And they were debating whether it would be him or somebody like Kyle Gibson or even Jake Odorizzi, who started last year on opening day against the Orioles. He didn't do too bad of a job on opening day. But Jose Barrios is going to start on opening day for the Twins. But another big name is going to make an opening day start, and it should be expected. It shouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. The Chicago Cubs have named John Lester opening day starter. And like I said, shouldn't be a surprise. They love John Lester in Chicago. He's been so good for them. Good veteran presence. I think John Lester has the chance to be a Hall of Famer, but that's just me. Anyway, John Lester getting the opening day nod. I'll tell you, the Cubs starting rotation is not bad if you think about it. Lester, you got Yu Darvish, Cole Hamels, Jose Quintana. And then you can flip, the number 5 hole. You got Mike Montgomery, you got Tyler Chatwood, one of the two. I'll tell you guys, the Cubs, and here's what blew my mind. I didn't even have this written down for the show this week, but I'm going to talk about it because it just seems so strange to me. The PECOTA rankings, they put them out every year. And it's basically just a prediction of where each team will be standings-wise by the end of this season. The PECOTA rankings put the Chicago Cubs in last place in the NL Central. Last place. At 79 and 83. That blew my mind. It really did. It blew my mind. I don't know where they got this from, but they had the Pittsburgh Pirates in front of them. The Pittsburgh Pirates. Are they out of their minds? You think the Cubs are going to be in last place in the division this season? I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Everything else, looked pretty ordinary, pretty usual. But that stuck in my mind so much because the Cubs are that good of a team. Just think they were in the World Series 3 seasons ago. Had one of the greatest seasons in Chicago Cubs history. Going back to the World Series and actually winning it. They have one of the best managers in the game in Joe Madden. And they got 2 powerhouses in Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant. So I don't really understand where they're coming from. Oh, and don't forget Javi Baez. 3. Don't forget about Javi Baez. Almost won the MVP in the National League last season. So this really shocked me, and I downright think it's wrong. It's wrong. The Cubs are going to do really well this year. I don't know if they'll beat the Brewers. It came down to that game 163 last time. Because I really like the Brewers. The Brewers just need some starting pitching. That's all it is. And if they go out and get somebody like Gio Gonzalez again, re-sign him, or get Dallas Keuchel, one of the two, they'll be pretty good. They'll be pretty good. But anyway, My standings in the NL Central as of right now are Milwaukee in first, Chicago in second, St. Louis in third, Cincinnati fourth, and Pittsburgh fifth. And I think almost everybody would agree with me. I don't see how that's crazy or strange. The PECOTA standings are crazy, and they are strange. And that's why I don't trust them. Because they'll give you stupid stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, John Lester named opening day starter for the Chicago Cubs. And Jose Barrios named opening day starter for the Minnesota Twins. So over the week, there was really a confusing trade, as the Twins traded Zach Granite to the Rangers in exchange for reliever Xavier Moore. Now, I could see where the Twins did that, considering they have a pretty solid outfield core right now. And there's probably no place for Zach Granite. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. So he's going to the Rangers, who are rebuilding. I mean, I don't know if they're rebuilding, but they're going to be in last, pretty much. So the Rangers got Granite, who could possibly be a bench bat for them. And the Rangers sent over Xavier Moore to the Twins. And not even a half an hour after the Twins got Xavier Moore, they traded Xavier Moore to the Baltimore Orioles for international signing bonus money. Now, the new general manager for the Orioles, Mike Elias, he has done some low-key good moves this offseason. Getting Alcides Escobar free agency, got him off the market for very cheap, not even $1 million. Signed starting pitcher Nate Carnes, very cheap. But you would expect that. You would expect that from a team who's in a rebuild mode. They're not going to go out there and spend a bunch of money. So they got Xavier Moore now. The Orioles have Xavier Moore now. But anyway, it was a confusing situation. Now that it's cleared up, Xavier Moore is on the Orioles. Zach Granite is on the Rangers. So right now we're going to debut a new segment on the pitch with Jared Watson. We're going to try something new here. Kind of what they do on ESPN. I'm going to try it out, see if it works. If it works, we'll do it more often. If not, we'll scratch it. But this is going to be a little test trial here. We are going to do your 1 minute buzz starting right now. Got some more signings for you as Adam Warren signs a 1-year deal with the Padres worth around $2.5 million. The Padres are adding on to their bullpen. They've added Aaron Luke, they have Kirby Yates, and now they have Adam Warren. So they got a pretty good back end of their bullpen after signing Adam Warren to a 1-year deal. Clay Buchholz, former Boston Red Sox ace, has signed a 1-year deal with the Blue Jays around $3 million. Good signing for the Blue Jays. They've added some starting pitching depth this year, getting Matt Shoemaker and Clayton Richard. But they also have signed Bud Norris to a minor league deal as well. So they're adding to their pitching staff, the Blue Jays. Brad Miller going to the Los Angeles Dodgers on a minor league deal. Brad Miller kind of got tossed around last year, started out with the Rays, ended up with the Brewers, and then hit free agency. The Brewers cut him. So this is a good opportunity for Brad Miller to go to LA and possibly be a utility man for them. That is your 1 minute buzz on the pitch with Jared Watson. So we have a contract extension to talk about. Relief pitcher Jose Leclerc signing a 4-year extension with the Texas Rangers. Deal's worth around $14.75 million, and there are also 2 club options with the deal. Leclerc really had a good season last year, had a breakout season. He made the All-Star team. He was just a really great overall reliever, and he's probably going to be the Rangers' closer. I would assume. He's got good stuff, good command. He's not a big power guy. He has a slider that works really well and fools the righties. But Anyway, Jose Leclerc, he's going to give you the innings you want. He's young. He's only 25. So he's going to have some more good years for the Rangers as they go in there sort of rebuild or whatever you want to call it for them. He's going to have a good couple seasons. He's going to be on the All-Star team for the American League. Overall, a good signing for the Rangers and fairly cheap. $14 million. Oh, well, if you round it up, it's $15 million. But $15 million for Jose Leclerc for 4 more years, and if you add the club options, that's 6 more years. That's a bargain, folks. We're talking about a top-notch reliever. That's a bargain for the Rangers, and they haven't done too many exciting deals this offseason. They got Asdrubal Cabrera, and they got Logan Forsythe, and a few others, but this is the biggest by far. So Jose Leclerc is staying with the Texas Rangers for 4 more years, and the Rangers got a bargain on this one, folks. And I don't know if I would consider it a low-risk, high-reward deal because they're going for 4 years, but it's definitely a high-reward deal in that. So, Jose Leclerc staying with the Rangers 4 more years. Well, for the first time in this podcast, we are going to talk about a suspension. It was reported by John Paul Morosi that Boston Red Sox pitcher Stephen Wright will be suspended 80 games for violating the drug policy for PEDs. Now, I'm very confused about this because the dude is a knuckleballer. Why would you even think about taking PEDs when you have a knuckleball that's basically unhittable? That just doesn't make sense to me. And I could see it if you're a hitter. You know, hitters have done PEDs in the past, you know. Chris Davis, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, all of them. They've all done PEDs, but pitchers, you know, I don't understand, especially in his case, because he has a knuckleball. But Stephen Wright is going to be suspended 80 games for the Red Sox. He was probably going to make either their starting rotation or their bullpen. Either one, he was kind of back and forth last season. He's got the stuff, like I said. He's got that knuckleball that's unhittable at times. It's really either very hittable or very unhittable. There's no in between. This hurts the Red Sox. I mean, it doesn't hurt them too terribly, but it definitely hurts them. You're one man less going into the start of the season. You already have a great starting rotation, but your bullpen's a little iffy, so he could have been that long relief arm in your bullpen. I don't see this as an issue. This isn't like a Mookie Betts or a Chris Sale or a JD Martinez. I mean, really, but it's still a shame nonetheless. Stephen Wright suspended 80 games for violating the drug policy. This hurts. This is going to hurt him. It's going to hurt the team, and nobody benefited from it. So, big mistake by Stephen Wright. We all make mistakes, but this hurt the Red Sox, definitely. Stephen Wright suspended 80 games. So now we're going to move on to a topic we haven't really touched on quite yet in these episodes. But we're going to talk about some jersey sales. That's right, jersey sales. And in fact, the newly signed Bryce Harper has broken the record for most jerseys sold in 24 hours by any sport. That includes football, soccer, basketball, hockey, all of them. Bryce Harper broke the record. I don't know the exact number, but it must be pretty high because I think the next highest is LeBron James to the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a big deal. I mean, Bryce, he's wearing number 3 because he wanted to let Roy Halladay have the number 34, which is awesome. I couldn't agree with him more that he should be the only Philly to wear it from now on. So he moved to number 3, which is different, But then they also have all sorts of colors. They got those retro blue jerseys. They got the red, and then you got the classic, white with red pinstripes. So I really think this is cool, especially for Philly fans. You know they're going to be repping Harper for a while now. So just a little cool thing that I found online this week. Bryce Harper breaking the all-time jerseys sold record in 24 hours with any sport. And he's going to have a big season, I have a feeling, with the Phillies. So we'll see. So Bryce Harper already off to a good start in Philadelphia. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for episode 4. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like what you hear, please feel free to share with your friends. Tell them to share and then tell their friends to share. It just means so much to me that you all keep coming back and listening. I believe the last episode got close to 100 views, almost 100, which is pretty cool considering it's only episode 3. So that really helps me a lot. Also, go on the YouTube channel, The Pitch with Jared Watson on YouTube, and you can watch all the episodes I have done so far. It's easy. Just search it up. You'll have all the episodes, including this one, on the channel. And also follow my MLB pages, MLB News by Jared Watson on Facebook and Twitter. It really means a lot to me that you guys keep listening and sharing. It's just awesome. So thank you all so much for listening. This has been episode 4 of The Pitch with Jared Watson. I'm Jared Watson signing off. God bless you all.